Meet Joe. Joe is just your average guy who came up with an idea and wanted to do something with it. With some advice from his friends, Joe learned that he could develop this idea and actually make money off of it. He had discovered value and needed to learn how to make the transaction. Joe started looking around the internet to figure out what to do. After he did some research, he came across a step-by-step plan on how to turn an idea into something that created value. So after he learned the process, Joe decided to make this video to help others how to create and discover value. Here's what Joe discovered. Joe realized that the first step for any entrepreneurial endeavor is actual idea generation, and there are a few different ways that these ideas come about. According to Joe, you can either have an original idea or go through a discovery process in which you deliberately create an idea using external forces as inspiration. An original idea, like Joe's, is one where the idea simply pops into your head, inspired by a particular problem you have recognized. In many instances, you may not even know why or where the ideas came from. Joe also came about a discovery process for ideas called unrelated novelty and thinking outside the box. This is best used when you have recognized a problem or imperfection, but have no idea how to solve it. When doing this, you are using seemingly unrelated ideas or items to produce a multitude of new options and ideas. More specifically, you generate a large list of seemingly unrelated words as inspired by any particular object, and then randomly group those words into roughly 25 different 3-word sets. Then use each set to provide inspiration for 25 different products, services, or ideas that could help you solve your initial problem. This differs from original ideas such as Joe's in the fact that you have no idea how to solve the problem. Joe had an idea, he just didn't know what to do next. Little did he know, but as Joe talked with his friends and searched for advice, he was actually building a plan and developing his idea. With everyone he talked to, he would be faced with a different question. This forced Joe to not only answer these questions, but more importantly to answer these questions for himself. In doing this, Joe was able to specifically define his goals, consider what processes and solutions could be used, and recognizing what characters would be involved. This idea development process lays out the who, what, when, where, why of the potential venture. The next step is figuring out if your idea is really practical and plausible. A good way of measuring the feasibility of your product is to create a 300-word product concept. This lays out the general ideas behind your product, as well as laying out the benefits it will provide. If you have trouble doing this, you may need to reevaluate, as you may have an idea with little or no usefulness. Another key concept of idea evaluation is market research. Market research allows you to pinpoint things such as, is there a demand for this product, what demographics show interest, and what the potential size of your market is. This also gives you information on how you will position your product to different markets. Having adequate financing for your venture might be the most important part of the entrepreneurial process, so listen up. Joe found out the hard way that just because you have the money to get things started doesn't mean you have the money to keep things going, especially if your product is a quick hit. Joe was able to create a product for one of his friends, but there were 10 others who wanted the product as well. That left Joe with just one friend. Don't be like Joe. After giving up, Joe gave things another shot. Only this time, he had his financing in line. The toughest decision Joe faced, however, was to use debt or equity financing. Financing through debt, you are at risk of losing your business, while equity financing requires you to give some amount of control of your venture. This depends largely on your personal risk profile. Joe wasn't particularly business savvy, so he was okay with equity financing. Joe now can make lots of his products and lots of new friends. Yay, Joe! After this, Joe moves into the setup process. Here he focuses on protecting his idea using things such as patents. This, along with setting up an infrastructure inside the organization, will set up Joe for a sustainable future. Joe can now monitor his business and watch his pocketbook grow with money, 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 money. Joe has repeated this process and watched his pocketbook grow some more with money, 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 money.